They took us to a castle temporarily, and our own planes came over the following day with the mission, I guess, from what I understand, to bomb a railroad station. So they must have had some bombs left over, and they started bombing the castle and the strafing. Then I left the slit trench, you know what that is. Another guy, Charles E. Throman, passed me, and I'm probably the last man to speak to him alive. We just said hello. And there were two captains at the officers' slit trench, and we dove into the arch of the castle between a mess truck and a wall, and they were strafing. They broke a window over the arch, and they hit the guy in the throat with a 50, and it killed him. So we buried him in the castle, in a flower bed behind the castle. I was on a work detail when I escaped from a prison camp south of Florence, between Florence and the town of Arezzo, near the town of Laterina. The camp was built on a bend, no Italian prison camp, built on a bend of the Arno River. And I got into civilian clothes. I had a little piece of shrapnel on one finger. My fingertips were frostbitten, and this was infected. I was afraid my whole arm would be infected, and the only place to get medical treatment would be German hospital. Knock the guard out. Not enough to seriously injure him. Kill him, they'll kill 10 Rangers. Oh yeah, you don't kill a guard. That's what they do. They'll line 10 of you up. So you hit him to knock. He had a soft hat on, overseas hat. The German we were brought in there. They had material sewn into a burlap, and he had to get the bottom one out. There were 3 stacked up. He put the rifle down. This guy's real shell-shocked. He's stupid. He's scratching his head. He's got to figure out, how do you take 2 off the top to get the bottom one? So he puts his rifle down. He's scratching his head and lying. I hit him on the overseas hat. They had a tire iron they used for changing a tire on a rim, you know. Well, I wasn't too thrilled about going to Germany. Well, being a prisoner in Germany is no bargain. Besides, I was afraid they're going to find out I'm Jewish. Then I'd be digging my own grave and probably get shot into it. Well, I got rid of my dog tags, but they were suspicious of those of us who showed up without dog tags, but not much they could do about it. You always had that fear. It could happen. And I wasn't going to give it a chance. I wasn't going to tempt fate. Survival.
Right.
That's the name of the game, to survive. And there were 2 other guys. Well, let me think. There was about 6 or 8 who escaped at various times. There 2 of them were killed behind enemy lines. They both were Jewish, and one was a lieutenant, the other were medics. And they were informed on, they were recaptured, tried to escape again, and they were shot, they were killed. There was Lieutenant Simons and Louis Glass. Louis was from New York, Lieutenant Simons from Cleveland. And they both escaped before I did. And then the Italian people will get you together. Don't ask me how, but nothing goes on, nothing happens that they don't know about. And we got into a valley between 2 towns, Bardia, Agnano, and Civitella, okay. And there was a dirt road, a lot of farmhouses, and there's maybe a dozen escapees. There's no partisan band, none of us had on any arms. We were just living there and surviving. And the people took care of us, which without them, we never would have made it. And we were there in this valley between these 2 towns from about the 17th or 18th of February until the end of February, I guess, first part of March, when we left and traveled south. And it was the end of March when we joined the guerrilla band, and the next province south was Umbria. And we served with them from the end of March to the middle of May. And the band broke up when Lieutenant Simons came south, and we bumped into him, so he joined the guerrilla band. We never saw Louis Glass again. He was down near Sulmona, farther south, when he was recaptured, and him and an Englishman were on a wired-in prison van, and they made a break for it, and Louis got hit, the Englishman got away. I took off from the guerrilla band. The Gestapo caught and they killed the leader and his exec, Nigel Eatwell, a South African, and David Campbell, an Englishman. And about the 18th of May of '44, I left the guerrilla band there, traveled south, about 100 miles, and May the 26th, I made my way through the British lines, German-British line, through the German into the British lines on May the 26th. And I came down into the town of Palena, held by the household cavalry, made up of the horse and the lifeguards. They transported us back to the rear, an escapees camp, where we were issued British summer uniforms, and we took a shower, got a haircut, and felt like a human being again. Then I got interrogated. I had some fairly good intelligence. They were looking for a horse-drawn convoy that was supplying the British German 8th Army, the front in that area. Mm-hmm. And during an air raid, I was in a town of Popoli, and I'd watched them pass, and I saw where they turned. I was able to tell the British officer was interrogating me. I hated to say anything happened to the horses, but they're hauling material that's going to kill people.